So I am going live to do these weekly vlogs. I had this idea of just kind of giving like a behind the scenes insights, different messages, different things, and doing it live just because it's a little bit easier for me to go live. So this week, today is February 9th. So this last week, I'm just going to do like a quick reflection, some of the things I've learned, some of the things I want to share. And I always go back to if we continue to share and it give like the value and the information that we're learning from our lives, that can also maybe help somebody as they grow and as they expand and as they evolve. So with that being said, as most of you know, with the way that if you've been following me in my YouTube journey, I am on a fitness journey. So I'm in prep for bodybuilding competition. So I'll be weaving some um, bodybuilding stuff in here, some of like how prep is going, some reflections I've had, and along with being in bodybuilding prep, like building my business, parenting, and all the things. And if there's specific things that you really desire to like have an insight on, or it would be helpful, or you have questions, you can feel free to like drop them in the chat. Let me know. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have in the next week's vlog. I continue to plan on weekly doing this just to continue to share my experiences and continue to, it's also documenting part of the journey. So, life update. Last week was a very interesting week in a way of some of the challenges and some of the growth. And one of the biggest thing is I fired my bodybuilding coach, and through that journey, I learned what really good coaches are. And I thought I had a really good coach until it came down to it, and then it just wasn't working out. And now that I've transitioned into this new coach, it's been completely different. It's just been a very different shift for me to see and just to like also experience. Like I do a lot of coaching myself, and to see their process and the way that they communicate and the way they show up. So that transition has been amazing. My body has felt really, really good, and I feel like I'm in a completely different space when it comes to competing. So that was a huge shift for me. It was also me realizing that I get to be supported on this journey. I don't have to do it all alone, and super, overcoming like the hyper independence. And so that really has helped me like allow my coach to support me and give me what I need to be able to get to this stage. So that was a big lesson. The other lesson I had last week was being called toxic positivity on Threads, which was very interesting to see people's version of toxic positivity. In my perspective, I was only giving a different perspective. So I'm going to give you the example so you can kind of, if you don't follow me on Threads, you may not know the example because I had reposted it on Threads. But the example was somebody was saying like how scared they are, like they have a business. Like, I don't understand how my business is going to keep making it if you can't make it. So basically, they were a small business owner saying, if you can't make it now, how are you going to afford to pay for my services? So I just commented on the post of saying, hey, just another perception that you can see is there are like 7 billion people in the world. Somebody out there needs your services. So you shift yourself from operating, instead of operating in lack, you're now like shifting your perception into abundance. That was what I had posted. And then all of a sudden it got blown up to saying I was toxic positivity for that, which was very interesting to hear the toxic positivity because in my experience, like my perception is that's not toxic positivity. I'm not telling you to dumb down your feelings. I'm just saying there's other perceptions that you get to be open to, which led me to really like look at the way that I communicate, and especially online in the online space, and making sure that I am also mindful of the people that I'm communicating to. So that was a great lesson for me to learn, and to also know that we get to share our voices, our feelings in whatever aspect that we want to and how we feel to, and we can continue to share those experiences. So, toxic positivity was another lesson last week. And hey, John, I see that you are online as well. Hello. Some wins and celebrations for last week. So for me, I always feel like I have a huge win anytime my clients get huge wins. To be able to see someone transform their business, transform the way that they're leading, transform the way that they're thinking, and like have all these breakthrough moments. And anytime I see that and witness that, and last week I was able to witness that for several clients, and it was beautiful for me to witness and to be able to be like, wow, that was a huge breakthrough for them. And they were able to take what we taught them, implement it, integrate it into their life, and get results. And so that's always a win for me, and always something I celebrate a lot because I do not take it lightly. When people come to work with us, that is not something I take lightly. You know, I am invested in the process, and I want to see them win and help them and support them in whatever way that I can. And that was a huge win for me. I will also say getting back into the creation of like content, creating content and being able to show up consistently online was a huge win. To be able to have everything scheduled out, have my content created, and to be able to provide value, to be able to provide impact, and to be able to provide just a beautiful journey for people to go on. So when they look at my content, they're able to get a transformation. They're able to continue to learn without actually having to work with me, right? So that's always my intent when I do create content. So that was a huge win for me. The other huge win in celebration was getting all the webinars set up. And so we're doing live webinars this week and next week. There's more on my LinkedIn page about that. There's also some on my YouTube, but we're basically going through and teaching leaders how to become a better leader using AI. And those that do come to the webinar, they get access to the free tool. It is a free tool that you can basically take. It takes your opportunities and your strengths, and you can see that as a leader. So that way you know how to develop yourself. And you can also bring your team and have your team do it with you too. That was a huge celebration for me to get all those things up. It also was super exciting to be able to see people register for it, to know that we get to teach that, and to know that that's how we get to share, and that's the impact we get to make. So that was huge. Some other lessons I learned was taking the time to acknowledge where I'm at and celebrating that. It's not something that I've done very well in the past, and just slowing down and being like, wow, like I've really come a long ways personally on a spiritual growth and on all the other levels. And it's easy to see where I'm not at yet instead of slowing down and being like, wow, like I've really come a long ways. So that's been interesting. And there's a comment on the live: as a woman, do you think it's harder to build muscle? So that comment is from Peter. No, I do not think that it is harder to build muscle for women. I do feel like if you are on a health and fitness journey as a woman, more than likely you get to increase your protein. And a lot of women do not eat enough protein intake. So that's the number one thing. But I don't feel like it's been hard for me to build muscle. And I know that from my powerlifting, and I also know that from my bodybuilding journey, that it is not hard to build muscle for whether you're a man or a woman. So just to answer that comment. The other thing that I started last week, and I'll be sharing more of like my daily routines and things that have helped me. And last week I really started, I'm a huge believer in regulating our nervous system so that we have the capacity to, one, feel really good, feel amazing, but two, to regulate ourselves so that when chaos does happen, we're not shaken to the core. And sometimes regulating ourselves means, being out in nature, meditation. Like for me, it's cold plunge, sauna. It's also doing somatic work. And last week, I decided to start back doing somatic exercises on a daily basis because that helps me release a lot, and it also regulates my nervous system. So that was a huge shift for me to go back to that practice. And that's the thing that we get to in our life, we get to see what practices are going to serve us in this life and what practices are going to serve us in the next season. There's seasons of where I am all about meditation, and then there's next seasons where I'm more into journaling, and then there's next seasons of where when it comes to somatic work, I may not do it, but then I'll be cold plunge and sauna on a consistent basis. And it's knowing and understanding yourself, what is going to serve for you in this season, and trying things also out to help you in this season, to help you become a better version of yourself. If you've watched a lot of my content, you know I talk a lot about becoming the best version of yourself. And no matter where you are at, you can always become a better version. And someone out there is always going to be better and going to be worse than you. It doesn't matter what playing field you are at, you always have room and opportunity for growth. And if we can really look at the different aspects of our life and where we want to grow and where we want to expand, then we know where we're going and we can continue that journey. We can continue to grow and evolve and expand to the people and the leaders that we are called to be, whether you resonate with leader or not, insert whatever word you resonate, and continue on that journey, because that's what we're here for, is to always be growing. And when you're stagnant, it's comfortable, and in the comfort zone is not where you get results. And there's seasons where, yes, I will take a break and not push as hard, but then there are the seasons where, and during that season of not pushing as hard, I'm still learning and growing. I'm still evolving. I don't believe in like constant hustle. It's a balance, and there's time and spaces for that. Each person, every person on earth needs to decide that season for themselves and know that as well. Peter asked a question: how big are your biceps? I have no clue. I don't know. I don't measure them. That's not my measurements, so I have no idea. So yeah, okay. So we covered like win celebrations, and then one of the last things I would say, no, I am not flexing on camera. If you're wanting me to flex, no, not on camera. So one of the last things that I will say, just to kind of leave us with this, is going into this next week, is remember where you are headed. Remember the journey. Remember to continue to go after your dreams. Remember the leader that you are called to be. And even if it's uncomfortable, and even if the time and the space feels like it's stretching you, there's room for growth there. And if the world right now is falling apart for you, also remember that we get to be able to, really take a step back and see if everything's falling apart. What do we want to pick up? And what do we want to leave on the ground for us to continue to move forward, for us to continue to expand and grow. And so again, if you have questions, I'm going to try to be doing these weekly, just kind of vlogs on a weekly basis, kind of updates. This is more so for me for a journal, like documenting the journey, documenting the process of the growth that I want to see in myself. So happy to answer any questions. We've got one more question in the chat, or a comment. So back to the biceps, you wanted to compare them to yourself. That's why. No, I don't know how big my biceps are. No, and I definitely won't be flexing them. That's not really something, that's not the intention of this vlog. But any other questions, feel free to drop them. As far as content in between my weekly vlogs, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Threads and LinkedIn under Emily Adams. That's where I'm at on all my platforms. And for any other questions that you have, feel free to drop them in the comments. If there's other topics you want me to cover in my vlogs, or any other things that you want me to update, I am happy to share. And until next week, go be a great leader and make an impact in the world.